I'm here to share the fake it till you make it concept. I've heard of it, but I would like to dig more deep in it. First of all, when was the last time you've acted differently in order to fit in? I mean, examples as maybe you laughed at a joke that you didn't find quite, or maybe, I don't know, you yourself to stay up all night, your friends are staying up. Or something that I can personally relate to, which is things that you're afraid of. In my case, I used to be terrified. I mean, like, not just nervous, proper terrified of doing things alone. Like going to a cafe or going to a movie theater seemed so like, how could you do it alone? Like, I always had this thought at the back of my mind that people have friends, that they silently judge me. You're alone. And as I think of it now, I was in a big mistake. But why do we do this? Why do we care so much? We care so much about what other people think. Like, we don't know them. We don't know most of people in this world. The very simple answer to it is the fear, but not so many type of fear. A fear of judgment, a fear of failure, and mainly the fear of being different. And of course, all those emotions are normal to all of us. But the issue with that is that sometimes they limit our lives. They make opportunities lessen and lessen every day. According to a study, most people in their 20s miss over 26 every year due to the fear of doing things alone. You know, those experiences could be such as going skydiving, going to a TED Talk, doing anything that you would really like, you would enjoy. And because of the fear of what will anybody else say, limits us and basically stops us from pursuing what we want. According to Dr. Sherry Jacobson, it's not our fault, because group survival, which explains the fear of being alone. That's not our fault, according to it, because it's true. Because back in the Stone Age, we had to, gather around the fire, we had to hunt the animals together. Because if you're alone, you're dead. And that's okay, but I don't know how about you, but I hunt for my food, except, when it's a sale in a supermarket. But I believe that it's not as well our fault. Tradition of constantly belonging to a group has been spread from a very young age. I'm pretty sure that you've heard many times that you have to act a certain way, maybe spoken or unspoken ways you've heard it, that you have to act a certain way in order to belong somewhere, in order to fit into some unspoken standards. I believe that it's just sad because all those things could be such as don't be too loud, but don't be too quiet. Aim high and try to achieve as much as possible, but don't be a show-off because people won't like you. Love yourselves, yes, do it, but not too much because you might seem a bit arrogant. And to be honest, honestly, as I hear myself, you'll never be good enough for everyone. And to be honest, I think that's just fine. That's okay. Because you don't have to be good enough for everyone. Why would you? Because the real purpose of our lives, according to Buddhism, according to many more philosophies, according to many more religions, is to find our own happiness. Not to make other people happy, but to make ourselves happy. The fear of judgment that I said previously is the thing that holds us back. The thing that, due to we limit our, opinions, we avoid risk, and eventually we just, at some point, stop living. As it said, most people die at the age of 40, but we just bury them at the age of 80. Please don't do that, because that's something I really wish none of you to happen. But how can we break free from this terrible mindset, from this point of view, also call it? And here comes the fake it till you make it. I'm pretty sure you've heard it somewhere, maybe on social media, maybe from a friend, maybe on an article. But I'd like to begin with the misconceptions. What is it not? So you don't fall into this trap of trying to do something that doesn't exist. It suggests that if you act a certain way, and here a certain way, you'll become a certain way. Of course, to some extent, it is true. in such a way as when you smile, you get much more positive, much more happier. If you stand tall, you feel much more comfortable, you feel much more powerful, confident, and all those things. Of course, that's wonderful. But if you end up your journey on faking and not on actually growing, then eventually you might simply lose yourself. I don't mean like lose yourself like Eminem says, but I mean like lose yourselves like at some point you'll look into the mirror and wonder, who am I? Do I actually like what I'm doing? Or is it just popular and trendy? Here comes the Meet Yourself method developed by Dr. Nicola Pera, which helps you avoid this losing yourself. It is, of course, much more complex than what I'm about to say, but it begins with committing to yourself. It means that you should accept the fact that you'll never be done. You'll never be done growing. It's the same way as when you, for example, have a small maybe sibling, maybe a small cousin. When they make a mistake, would you, shout at them? Would you scream at them? Why are you doing this? No, never do this. You're bad, you're terrible. No, maybe you'd say, okay, don't repeat it, but just do better next time. Because you know that they're growing. You know that they'll get there. And it's important for us to treat ourselves the same way we would like to be treated, in the same way we would treat a beloved one. The second part is to have courage. This one is much, much more easier to say than to actually do. But growth happens outside of your comfort zone, which means that you have to do things that scare you. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite it. It means that you have to do it scared, you have to do it alone, you have to do it sad, you have to do it happy, you have to do it confident. Just do it, as Nike says, I guess. And that's okay, because it'll feel scary, your hands will shake and everything, but you'll get there and you'll realize that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, in the exactly moment that you're supposed to be in. Sport, which I wouldn't call a step, I would call maybe a final reveal, is that confidence will basically follow. It means that one day you wake up and realize, wait, I've done so many incredible things, and I was scared of all of them. I'm still scared, like, oh my goodness. But I did it. I did it even though I was terrified, even though I believe that's when life gets really good. And of course, all those complex, you could say, things might seem a bit boring, might seem a bit, out of this world, I guess. But if there was one thing that I would like you to, ask yourself, maybe ask yourself today, ask yourself tomorrow, maybe before sleep, maybe, in a year. But just ask yourself this question at some point. Who are you living for? Because at the end of your day, well, let's go even further. At the end of your life, you won't be wondering how many times you've impressed someone, how many times you made other people happy. Okay, that's great. But you will be wondering how many times you've impressed yourself. How many times you've done stuff that you actually liked, that actually made you happy, that actually made you feel free. You only live once. And I believe that this life should be for us. So let's make a choice today. Not to fake it, not to hide it, but to embrace who we are. Because insecurity kills more dreams than failure ever will. Thank you.